Two teams with grand designs come March time. It's actually the first time these two have met when both teams are ranked in the top 10 since 1961. Our Jerry Palm has the Hawkeyes on a 3 line, the Buckeyes on a 1. Let's figure out who stands where on a Sunday. Early first half, pick it up. Iowa down 1. Connor McCaffrey inside the big man, Luka Garza. He knows what to do from there later. McCaffrey off the mark from 3, but Garza with prime position. Picks up the board, the bucket, and the foul. Garza fired up early, scored 9 of Iowa's first 12 points. Coming off of some slow performances as well, Garza showing off some range, putting Iowa up 7, then just over 3 to play in the first half. Luka, baseline, gonna want to get a handout. You're gonna want to get a handout on a possible Player of the Year candidate. Iowa up by 9. Garza 15 points in the first half. Had just 16 in a loss earlier this year to Ohio State. Going to go well over that number. That's Joe Wieskamp drilling the 3, putting Iowa up 12. With that assist, Jordan Bohannon becomes Iowa's all-time leader in assists with 613. There'd be more. Justice Suing trying to shoot Ohio State back into this one. Pair of triples makes it a 6-point game, capped off a 7-0 run. They'd pull within 2, but then mid-second half, the Hawkeyes showing up on a road court. Garza again from 3. Iowa back out in front by 8. 2 minutes later, Iowa up 10. Garza passing out of a double team, extra pass to Wieskamp. Wheezy F, baby, and the F is for finisher. Iowa up by 13, capping a 7-0 run of their own. And then just over 2 minutes left, Bohannon using the Garza screen. Got it. Iowa takes down an AP top 10 team for the first time this season, 0-3 in the 3 prior tries. Garza finishes with 24 points, 11 rebounds for his 31st career double-double. Those numbers look much more like the Luka Garza we have been used to, shaking off some sorrows here that he's been dealing with in February. Iowa wins this one, 73-57. Your final, they take down Ohio State on the road for the first time, for the 3rd time in the last 13 meetings. Still struggling in Columbus. They get in the win column here on Sunday. For more on this one, let's get our guys into the mix. CBS College Hoops writers, co-hosts of the Eye on College Basketball podcast, Matt Norlander and Gary Parrish. Gentlemen, welcome. It is teaching time, and momentum is pivotal this time of the year as we hurtle towards Selection Sunday. What did we learn about these two teams today, Matt?
You know what? I don't want to overreact too harshly here, but I got to admit, between this loss with Ohio State and what it's done lately, I think we've got enough here to suggest that when Ohio State lands in the bracket, wherever that is, the 2 line, the 3 line, you should probably give some real hesitation about putting the Buckeyes into your Final Four. Not to say they absolutely can't get there, but it is an undersized team. Iowa is, an offensive juggernaut in the way that a lot of teams aren't, but OSU's issues, I think, just run a little too deep to trust this team to win 4 in the NCAA tournament. If, in fact, they have to play 4 opponents, we'll wait and see if that replacement team thing comes into play there. OSU got barely anything from its bench today, which I thought was significant. And then for Iowa to get, a combined, 40 plus 43 points, 17 boards from Garza and Joe Wieskamp, I thought was significant. A big time, I think the game's more about Iowa winning than Ohio State losing, but as it was wrapping up, I just couldn't help but think, this is a really good team, but I'm not sure Ohio State really has been as good as its seed had reflected in the past 3 weeks.
I think that's exactly right. We have talked a lot over the past month as Ohio State has stacked wins. At one point was leading the entire nation in quadrant 1 wins, went up to the 1 seed line according to Jerry Palm's bracket. I had them ranked in the top 4. We would consistently, while giving Chris Holtman all the credit he deserves, point out that when you look at the roster, it doesn't make sense that Ohio State is this good. Like, they have good players and a great coach, but can that really make a great team? They had a great resume, but now it's starting to catch up with them a little bit. 3 straight losses. Now, to be clear, nothing embarrassing about any of them. One of them is against a Michigan team that is playing as well, if not better, than anybody in the country. This to an Iowa team that's been around the top 10 all season long, and the other one to a Michigan State team that, honestly, they just kind of let it get away. So there's nothing like devastating here. Ohio State, when it wakes up on Monday morning, is still going to be a projected 2 seed, I think, but it will be a projected 2 seed. That 1 seed is probably out the window, at least for now, and I would slide Illinois into the 1 seed line.
Well, the only thing this time of year that matters is the proof in the performance, and a 16-point loss doesn't bode well for that resume. A quick look at the calendar, fellas, and March is here. It's Iowa's first win against a top 10 opponent this season, 0-3 prior, as we said. What does this win do not only for their potential seeding line, but the confidence a team can carry into the conference tournament and well beyond, GP?
Oh, for Iowa, I think this is big. I mean, you didn't just beat a projected 1 seed. You went into their building and you did it, and you did it convincingly. You know, you took a big double-digit lead into the half, and at that point, people are just kind of waiting for you to squander it. And they nearly did. Ohio State did get within puncher's range of Iowa, but every time Ohio State made a run, Iowa countered with a run. And whether it was Luka Garza being terrific or the shooters Fred McCaffrey has surrounded him with making shots, Iowa continued to put points on the board at a good enough rate to get this victory. And so it's a quadrant 1 win. I had Iowa in the top 10 this morning. They obviously stay there now, and they've still got some stuff to work out on the defensive end of the court. But it should be noted, they're guarding better lately. Are they guarding like Memphis or Tennessee or Baylor or Michigan? No. But they're guarding okay. And okay just might be good enough on that end of the court because they're so great on the offensive end of the court.
Iowa has allowed 64.8 points per game in its last 5 games. It's 4-1 in that stretch. The only loss, obviously, a reasonable one to Michigan. That was 79-57. Reasonable loss. The margin is what it is there. This was a big-time performance. Held Ohio State to just 0.86 points per possession on Sunday. That's a big-time game. Ohio State, for all its troubles, it's still a really good offensive team, and Iowa's defense stepped up in a significant way. You have to feel quite inspired if you're a Hawkeyes fan. I mean, looking at what happened on Sunday, it would stand to obvious reason. Villanova, get them off the 2 line. There's no way you can validate having them there. Iowa, creep on up. So OSU and Iowa sharing the same 2 line, if you will, and Illinois would seem to make the most sense to bump on up there to the 1 line. Good games for the Hawkeyes. They remain obviously a fascinating team because they had a couple spots in this game where Ohio State was trying to get kind of close, and then they'd hit either a dagger 3 or get something to Garza down low. Extremely impressive performance, and now they also, their final 2 games of the regular season slate are at home. So they set themselves up actually really well in terms of both Big Ten seeding and overall seeding resume-wise. I would be surprised if Iowa lost again prior to the Big Ten tournament.
No, I think you said it really nicely there. Fascinating team, Iowa, and a fascinating player in Luka Garza. Matt, as we take a look at the February that was for Garza, sort of up and down in his performances here. One day he got 22, then he get 8 points, then he got 30, then you're back down into the teens. It's a really nice performance from him here on Sunday. He's obviously pivotal to their success moving forward, but what's the through line to that success? What did you see out of him on Sunday that you really liked?
I think he is a player that thrives off the success of his teammates, to be honest, and his teammates can quite often get a lot of success as long as they're hitting from the mid-range and then beyond on the perimeter. He doesn't necessarily need to have 29 and 12 every single night, although he's certainly capable of getting it. And the way that Iowa runs his offense through Garza, oftentimes that is the result there. I think what we saw on Sunday is going to be a lot closer to what we see from him going here on out. Now, maybe he has an off game in the Big Ten tournament. You know, you're fighting to win a league championship in this weird format this season, knowing that the NCAA tournament is the ultimate goal. So I'm not saying that, Garza is going to be this ultra reliable 28 and 13 guy every single game for the rest of the season. But I do think what we saw today is going to be a lot closer to what we see going forward. Some of those February lulls, I think, are behind him. And just kind of one closing thought here, his lulls corresponded and went parallel to Ayo Dosunmu just being absurd for Illinois and like taking over games and winning them. Ayo Dosunmu is still the most captivating player in a close game in college basketball. He hasn't played 2 games because of a facial issue. We expect him to be wearing some sort of mask whenever he's able to return for Illinois. But I think this game was big enough to the point where, barring Garza really being abnormally average and Dosunmu coming back and dropping 30 a night, I think this might be it that kind of clinches the National Player of the Year award for him.
I won't go that far. I don't think anybody's clinched a National Player of the Year in February recently, other than maybe Zion Williamson. Ayo Dosunmu is still a real threat, but Luka Garza is undeniably the leader, and I think Norlander had it right. he thrives off the success of his teammates. To be clear, he is big enough, strong enough, skilled enough to play through double teams. But obviously things are easier when he doesn't have to. And when things are easier, that usually is rooted in the idea that his teammates are making shots. They took 24 three-pointers in this one. They made 10 of them. That's going to be good enough. Joe Wieskamp was responsible with 5. So this is the trick to Iowa's offense. It is not all Luka Garza. It is mostly Luka Garza, but it is also Fran McCaffrey surrounded him with multiple shooters at all times. If you try to double Luka or throw people at him, then somebody is open, and it's a capable shooter almost always. If you want to guard the shooters, that makes some sense, but now you just got Luka Garza in isolation. Good luck with that. It is why Iowa has one of the 2 best offenses in America, and it's why a lot of people have thought that the Hawkeyes do have a real shot to get to the Final Four for the first time since 1980. It is the strength, not just of Luka Garza, but of the entire offense that Fran McCaffrey has created and developed.
It is winning time in college hoops, and the Hawkeyes brought it on Sunday. So did Matt Norlander and Gary Parrish. Thank you, gentlemen. For more from Matt and Gary, be sure to download and subscribe to the Eye on College Basketball podcast. It is the premier podcast in college hoops, and there's no better time to get involved than right now. Download and subscribe today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.